We could just do a tabletop simulator World of Horror fan spin-off kind of thing, or I could be, but you know, I'm thinking of what I can do, as we have Goizo World of Horror, and then a lot of, well, we're not gonna do all perks, but we'll do stuff other, we'll set character-specific perks, but we will do random item perks, and as we get into the timestamps, then we will do something else. So World of Horror backstory. I could shake it up and do you know, a random backstory, but at this point, you know, it's been a while since we had something normal, like Goizo World of Horror, character-exclusive random custom character. If you skipped ahead a timestamp, we did get all perks, but I figure, you know, if we're playing custom character, 98% of the time we'll play with character-specific perks. Takshi-san, second encounter strength light, second mystery, and maybe a charisma check. But as I was mentioning before, I mean, I do have some experience with making, let's just say making games for Tabletop Simulator, and yeah, we can do something for World of Horror. I don't know how fun it'd be, but hey, that's all I have to say. There's something else I wanted to say, but I forgot at the moment. Otherwise, we're taking small steps on this channel, again, because I have to really think about what I have on my plate right now. Now, whether or not I really believe, I guess we'll find out. But as for this run, we can at least look at the mysteries. Ward, Botanist, Teacher, Coma, and Cult. I forgot what Cult was mostly about. I feel like there was some either driving or a... Well, I think it is the exact same thing I'm thinking about. But I guess we'll find out. But first of all, we definitely want to take Ward and Teacher at some point. If I don't believe in myself and I don't remember Cult correctly, I should like actually take Cult now, but I think I can actually take Teacher now. Because, yeah, otherwise we don't have anything for Ward, so you know what? We'll take Teacher now. Now, yeah, I was about to say, since the hospital is at max threat level, we're going to set the police patrols there, even though we're going to get the hospital pass and cut down the number of hospital investigations. Excuse me. Sorry about that. In case you were eating, which I'm going to eat like 2 or 3 potatoes after this, odd as that sounds to say, yeah, we're going to be doing some stuff. So I forgot what I was actually trying. Oh, because we have a custom mystery and I don't remember pretty much any custom mysteries, I will be... we're setting the police... We were setting police patrols in the hospital because I don't know how many hospital investigations we'll do. That's all I'm trying to say. That being said, yeah, we really just want the army knife. The hermit is an interesting trade-off there. I think number-wise you still lose a lot more, but... So we're going to prepare a little... Well, actually, I should have taken out of funds. I made a mistake. Well, anywho. The reason why we should have taken out of funds is because if I take 3 stamina and take 2 funds, if I'm trying to get the hospital pass anyway, I might as well have taken 2 funds for 3 stamina, 3 reason, or 5 doom, and then have prepared for the hospital pass. Because we're on... we are on... What are we on? Oh, Teacher. Because we're on... We have a run with Ward in it. I don't remember any of this. Oh, it's just 1 stamina. Okay, good. That's odd as that sounds to say. But we want the hospital pass. That's the bottom line of what I'm trying to say. And I think usually, I mean, in the end it's RNG, but really if you're trying to plan things out in a low-risk way, then yeah, you really do want to make the most of your resources. In this case, I didn't prepare for funds, so we're just going to go into the legal den and grab this. It is 3 funds, because I didn't remember how much funds it took. But we will take 3 reason damage here if we run into out of funds. As I said. We'll check the history club really quickly. Yeah. And we'll move on. That was my disgusted, there's nothing I want there. And let's see. So, we do, well, 1, we have to censor Bunny, but 2, are we going to be okay here? We might just take 4 stamina damage in the face. I could gamble. Twice. 95% twice. It's a pretty good gamble. As I said in the past 3 to 5 videos, I was going to miss one of these eventually, so... I guess the real question is, are we going to miss twice? I could have just handcuffed and option selected, but didn't do that, so at least we hit 1 out of 2 95%. That's the least I can ask for. Now, are we going to get badly bleeding? We are going to take Ward so I can get rid of badly bleeding. That's all I have to say. As I said, I think that's a bug. I'm gonna keep saying it over and over again as we take the sensor bunny off the screen. I think that's a bug. A lot of, more than a few enemies give you badly bleeding base enemies, and I think that's a bug. If it's not a bug, well, let's find out. Later on, if and when this game gets updated. Oh my goodness. Well, pickpocket is near useless. Maybe it's not near useless. Maybe I run into a custom mystery and enemies actually drop stuff. Although on that end, I'm talking about something completely different. But on the topic of custom enemies and item drops, I'm pretty sure you can only make them drop an item or not. I don't think there's any way to make pickpocket matter, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Because otherwise, I mean, there are a few enemies that, you know, it would be nice to have pickpocket, but you're trading off a perk slot. And as we move into the topic of game dev and game design, yeah, it's hard to think about every variable, but that's one of many variables. The variable that is, hey, you have the player, you know, the player gets to pick up one of two items, and if you want them to pick up the less objectively gameplay great item in most, well, again, objective is a lot of things are subjective when you bring it down to it, but if you're trying to play in a low-risk way and not just be like, and not want your skill and or memorization and or player abilities to matter. Hey, I was gonna say a thing, but I forgot. Yeah, if you want it to matter, then you have to basically buff or nerf something in the game. Now, that's ultimately what will happen. By the way, a lot of hospital custom content events, but the real question is, do we get to handcuff this? Kind of. If I get lucky, question mark? And when I say lucky, I mean really. Oh yeah, we can actually... I do have painkillers for this, so you know what? Yeah, we're just gonna do this. So it would be nice to like one-shot this encounter, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So in the end, we basically just do this. And we just get out. So unless I mess up here. Okay, good. So what I mean by and basically what I mean by, you know, giving trade-offs is that pickpocket usually, unless you run into 2 to 3 enemies back to back to back, and even then you could argue that the items that drop from pickpocket are not as useful as they are. Let's assume they are useful for the sake of argument here as we get into culture. You'd have to run into 2 to 3 of those enemies back to back that drop something because you have pickpocket. If you don't, and that's what I mean by low risk, is then you'd rather take another perk, even quick thinking, as quick thinking shows its use here. Like perfect timing, unless I did some movie magic and edited this all to make it look weird. But that would be conspiracy theory. Oh, Jordan's not actually playing. But to get back to topic, yeah. So. For example, you run to the enemy that drops the rusty sickle. I think it's a village encounter. Nice charisma check, by the way. I forgot what else, but you get the point. You'd have to run to 2 to 3 of these enemies back to back, and then they'd have to actually grant you some kind of use that really helps you. Because, for example, we'll actually put this example because it can matter. Might as well because we're autopiloting now. But, oh man, yeah, I should just toss this. We don't need it anymore. But, so for example, you level up and you see a fast swimmer, and then you see pickpocket on an all perks run. You're probably most of the time going to take fast swimmer because you're always going to be fighting something. That speed increase is going to help you at least, in my opinion, 75%. I haven't crunched the numbers yet, but that's a lot of numbers scoring. 75% of the encounters you run into, like dullness, it doesn't matter because you're going to do this unless you don't do pseudo infinite improv, but you get the point. A lot of enemies you're going to want the speed increase because it allows you to do things that make things a lot safer, if not just outright one-turn enemies. Whereas pickpocket, yeah, you can pick up a rusty sickle and then pick up, I don't know what else you can pick up, but unless they drop occult diaries here and there, which decrease doom by 3 for those who forgot or don't know, yeah, there's no point in really taking pickpocket over to fast swimmer. 99 out of 100 times you're gonna pick fast swimmer, in my opinion. If I were to guess, I would even put good money down that would be the case. But that's what I'm trying to say. If say for example you are a game dev, like I'm a game dev, if I want you to use a certain perk or an item or a skill or an attack or a weapon in any game really, no matter what genre, I would have to do something to incentivize you or make you do it. Now, there are, like I say make because that's, I think in my opinion, the negative way to make a player do something is to force them to do something. But if you force them to do something they don't want to do, oftentimes that doesn't work out. And as we know now, games that force players to do things tend not to do so well, in the majority speaking. But, yeah, I mean, that's all I really wanted to say. That's... and this goes back to the starting point of if you want us to use pickpocket more, if for whatever reason in World of War, you have to incentivize people to pick pickpocket. For example, this is a very extreme example. You make a custom mystery that just asks for pickpocket, the pickpocket perk, in every single event, and if they don't, they just lose like 2-all. That's the most straightforward, but I think accurate example of this. By the way, I could just fight these things normally. Well, these people, they're human enemies, but. Let's gamble on pretty much a 50-50. 80-80-80. That's pretty much... That's a little above better than 50%. I think it's like 51.2%. I don't remember. That's not... I'm not exact to the decimal, but I'm pretty sure I'm in the low 50% range. In fact, I'll even calculate that now while I'm just autopiloting here. So, looting is great, but we didn't get any shopping perks. That's the... Actually, you know what? Funny enough, perception strength. So, specifically for this character, or how the character is designed... This character has high perception, and that, at least for me, pushes me to use the army knife, which is a perception weapon. You can't see it right now, but it's a perception weapon. And the character, yeah, they have perks like looting and stuff, but when you see art knowledge, that gives you a point in perception. What this really means for me, aside from events, is that this allows my army knife to be 3 speed faster. On top of the strength I add, so that's brace plus army knife. So right now, our speed is 61 speed. With the brace, we pretty much are able to get a good army brace attack. We almost can do prep attack, but that's what I mean by... If I wanted to build solely into it, in a not brace, I could have done prep attack. But, again, funny enough, having high perception causes me to not take the Obsessive Shopper Petty Thief perks. Also, my OBS just slowed down, but hopefully not too badly. Let's get our ammunition back. I'm not saying that anything good or bad about what the creator decided to say. I'm just saying that's at least my train of thought. Now, you could take pickpocket over the perception perk that I just saw, but that you just saw. But again, I feel in at least 60 to 70% of the cases you take. In my case, you take art knowledge there with army knife, especially because even art knowledge is used for. It's used for events. In event. Whereas pickpocket, it still is not used for any events. That's why I use the custom event / custom mystery argument, because I have no other incentive to take looting or pickpocket. In the average case, you won't see a lot of people pick looting unless they're new to World of War. Because as you play World of War, you find that you're not really buying anything in the middle of a run. I'm probably one of the few players, I was going to say only, that's not true. I'm one of the few players who will take funds in the middle of the run because I want to take cigarettes. But otherwise, if you don't use vending machine, it's really hard to justify taking perks that revolve around, just in general, not even talking about perk packs, that revolve around buying items or getting funds. Granted, I did run into out of funds, so you might argue, well, Jordan, you ran into out of funds, so isn't that a bad thing? No, because as you see here, that out of funds doesn't happen usually more than once or twice anyway. Yeah, you have one fund to deal with it, but meh. Really meh. I mean, I know this because I watch other people play World of War. When I say other people, I mean several people. So, seeing how many times they run into out of funds, aside from the fact that, you know, they spend funds that they get from out of funds somehow, which happened to one person, you don't really run into out of funds because you're not going to lose that many funds. So if you're unlucky, you will. But most of the time, it's player inflicted. You choose to buy an item, say in the village cult shop event. Really? I was kind of autopiloting, but just to close off the thought, I will play this character one more time, but I will add more custom content stuff. But to close this video out in the next 15 seconds, yeah, a lot of player fund related out of funds events are player inflicted rather than RNG of the game, because obviously you can get pickpocketed and lose funds. You can use up funds if you don't know an event's coming. If you're using custom content, you pick a choice that just removes funds. So things like that. But other than that, and I think funny enough, as a quick aside or slash question of some sort. I think Out of Funds is still one of the only events that can proc even if you place every event, because it only looks at how many funds you have, which is not something you can do with custom events, like look at how many funds you have and proc this event. But hey, but without further ado, if you have anything to say, you know what to do. If you want to support me, you know what to do, because I'm gonna go away. I love